This podcast contains adult themes and language. The views expressed here are our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Oh, yeah, everybody, we're back.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. We're
that
back, baby.
Now that we're not muted.
Odie's first.
Odie. Woo.
Odie, we missed you last week since we didn't do the show. But, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Everything's good. Odie can hear us, I'm sure. All right.
Yeah, we did an actual Thanksgiving dinner
Yeah.
instead of just the Costco pot pie, which we've
Nice.
done the past couple
Did you
years.
guys end up with the spatchcock?
I did.
We did. We brined the turkey with fresh herbs from the garden and some garlic the night before. And then he spatchcocked it and smoked it, and it turned out.
Nice.
So I'm officially saying it's the juiciest turkey I've ever had in my life.
So juicy.
Well, I also did inject it with Creole butter.
Yep.
Hey, it's just made it fantastic. Right into
He's
food.
like, all right, here we go.
Yeah. Good morning, Michelle.
We're just so
Joe?
excited to be back.
Yeah.
Haven't seen each other for
Yeah.
2 weeks, and lots happened
Where
in
did
between.
you go again?
DC. We did Wednesday. We did Thanksgiving at my brother's, which was great. And then, like, from there, at 5 p.m., we all piled into the car, already loaded up, and drove straight to DC so we can make Thanksgiving at 2 p.m. there the next day.
May I say that? May I say for the record, since we're past the 7-second YouTube rule, fuck that.
18-hour shot.
So that's a flight to Korea.
Oh, okay.
How was your kids?
They were troopers. I have to
good.
give them all the credit in the world. It's a different thing now being able to travel because I will also admit that we have an over dependence upon electronics in the car during that time. They're not on the entire time, but like when they can, knock out a movie or two in a clip.
That does help, yeah.
That helps so much. Like by that time, if I was their age on a road trip, I would have had a full like museum of boogers on the window, and like I would have gotten yelled at so many times. Like
we got really tired of hearing the word slug bug.
Right.
Museum of boogers. Excellent.
Just the weirdest stuff, to keep yourself occupied, right?
Yeah, when you're a kid, and you're stuck in a confined space for a long period of time. You gotta think of something.
Yeah, something like, hey, Mom, did you know the seatbelt is 25 fibers wide? Okay, thanks, Patrick. I appreciate you for sharing that.
All right, let's Museum of Boogers. Love it.
I'd never forget that one.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into gratitude. Judy, go first.
I'm grateful I got to go to another AA meeting. It was actually kind of nice. There were so many people there that they had to separate it into 2 different rooms so everybody could talk. But it was really nice. It was nice to hear people going through the same shit that I'm going through during a holiday season. During the everybody gets smashed and we're all around drunken family and the weird uncles and the whole bit. And it was nice to hear other people go through the same thing about, oh man, I was watching a whole bunch of people drink and I just had to leave.
Yeah.
So, but that was what I was grateful for, to be able to go to another meeting and still get something out of it instead of just going there and going, oh, that was a complete waste of time.
Yeah. Patrick?
I am grateful for sobriety in general, like being at my wife's family. I love them. They're a big Catholic family. So there's a lot of big personalities, very typical of what you think of Thanksgiving, just like you said, the weird uncles and whatever, like just all convening. And then, The alcohol is free flowing. Like as soon as we got there, they're like, "What are you drinking?" We got the wine, the bourbon. And I'm like, Sprite Zero, baby. And to watch it all unfold, there's decades worth of either trauma or emotional work that still needs to be done in families like that. And, all right. Yep. We should be back now. Give us a thumbs up
I can hear the music.
if you got us.
That was not my fault.
The Gremlins.
I wonder if it's because I'm recording on here, if that's an issue.
Hey, Wendy.
Could be a variety of things. USB also doesn't like to be extended that far.
Patrick.
It's
Okay.
working fine.
Yeah.
All right.
So
We're back.
I don't know you sitting with the family and having a good time, but people are drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta tell you, that's still tough for me to do. I don't know why. I do know why. It's just because it's not like there's some kind of weird craving. That's not it at all. It's not like I'm sitting there going, "Oh man, give me some of that white wine."
Right?
It's not what it is. I think it just makes me uncomfortable watching people get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, like you can see it maybe that first 30 minutes, everybody's a little bit more jovial. But then immediately you start picking up on all the things that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
You know, the inhibition, bad decision-making skills, emotional,
Plus the physical, the slurring of the words.
tempestuous, the physical slurring of the
balance
words.
is gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The hijacking of basically all the senses in the body.
Yeah.
Before
we get to that, did you do your gratitude?
I did not. OBS exploded. We gotta fly Odie out here so he can manage OBS studio for me. Make sure nothing's breaking.
We need Odie as our production manager.
Yeah. So my gratitude is for the same thing around this, especially this time of year. I'm just happy being sober. I've been waking up feeling happy and content lately, which is nice. And that's it. I did miss you, Patrick, when you were gone. It's like, I know you live up the street, but knowing that you're not physically up the road, I'm like, where the hell's Patrick?
Over 1,000 miles away.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it. All right. You guys want to jump into the physical stuff? We don't have to go down the laundry list of everything, but I think it'll spark some good conversation because I want to talk about the stuff that I used to experience. And
yeah, we should at least touch on the different body parts.
Yeah.
A little bit.
All right, guys, look, this is not going to be a whole alcohol shaming discussion. Well, you know what? Let's be honest, it is.
Well,
no, we're just basically going to be talking about how it affects the body physically. We're not saying that this is, you should, whatever you should do or not do. It's totally, you're a grown adult. You can do whatever you want. But we're just talking about how it affected our physical body and how it affects every physical body.
Yep. So keep in mind, we're not doctors, but we want to approach.
We are not medical professionals.
We are not medical professionals, but we want to kind of approach this in like more of a scientific approach to just lay out, how the body reacts, in a non-judgmental way, just so we understand the mechanics of it. We've talked about this many times about it influencing our behavior, and this is kind of the, for us as alcoholics, this is always a great topic because it's a return to fundamentals of what alcohol actually is doing to your body.
And what it actually is.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all this stuff I knew when I was drinking, but I chose to dismiss it the majority of the time. So, we're going to talk about how it affects the brain, the liver, the pancreas, and a couple kidneys and a couple other organs. So, I'll just jump right in and we'll cover sort of you guys can freestyle off of my riffing of what's happening.
Sure.
Okay.
So what I found fascinating, which I didn't know when I was drinking, because I never, I didn't want to research it too much because that's really hurtful to me. While I'm drinking,
you're drinking,
9% ABV IPAs, like, is alcohol bad for you? Yes, it's fucking bad for you. I'm like, ugh, I got too much beer left in the fridge. So what do I do now? But anyway, so in short, what happens, this is fascinating. We evolved to be able to drink alcohol. It was the whole monkeys picking up fermented fruit off the forest floor, because doctors have shown that the process of alcohol processing and digestion about 1 million years ago would just simply kill us. Dust.
Yeah, ethanol is quite potent. In fact, to riff off of you here quick, is anything that we're talking about at this point, what happening to the body, being able to quote unquote process it, is alcohol is a toxin. It is
literally poison.
It is literally poison, and the effects that come from it, we'll talk about maybe some of the dopamine and the GABA, the good stuff, but effectively everything else is a complete override of your body of trying to deal with a poison. Period. End of story. Like, there are studies. Of course, you're going to go out and find studies like, my 2 glasses of wine a day, that's like good for you. There are many of them out there and they're very conflicting. But one thing is for sure, that the long-term effects are not healthy in any means whatsoever. At best, those ones that say like a small amount is good, they're describing the ability for the body to relax from stressors. And that is what is of benefit. If you're going to tell me like I drink wine for antioxidants, take the fucking antioxidants.
Yeah.
Don't like, you don't have to, water down ethanol to a 3% solution and say like, I do it for the antioxidants.
Yeah.
That's not what's going on here. If you water any poison down to like that, of course you're going to be able. Why do you think we church it up so much and like so many other sugars and other flavors and frilly dresses, hops and all this stuff?
Yeah.
It's a fucking poison.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, it was funny. I was reading Alan Carr's Easy Way to Quit Drinking,
Yep.
and he said in there that somebody came and asked him, well, how can you teach me to drink just a little? And he says, well, I could teach you to drink just a little bit of arsenic too, but why would you want to do that?
Yep, I love that one because it's exactly like Johnny, you were saying, this was developed as an evolutionary mechanism to help us deal with it in the wild, right? Like the ability for the body's the ability to process alcohol the way we do. The body goes into fight or flight and says, "Oh fuck, I need to get this out." Because the other option was, "Oh, I just die."
Right.
And now we get to tempt fate because there's one small byproduct for 10 minutes, at the front end, why the body is just like overstimulated and basically like this is like shooting the ether into the diesel engine.
Yeah, into the blood plug.
To get it started, right? It just short circuits everything, bypasses so much because the body freaks out and says, I need to process this shit first and get it out of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will even bypass any kind of digestion of food to process the poison that's in your system. Now, if you don't have any food in your stomach, it goes right into the small intestine and it tries to process it there.
The physiological reaction to this whole process is your liver starts to keep you alive and processes this ethanol, and it converts it into, I forgot the name of it, poly something or other.
Acyl.
You're an asshole. Yeah.
I am. Thank you for the reminder.
Anyway, so that processing of it into that non-poisonous substance.
It's more poisonous.
It is. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what
Yes.
gives us the hangover. too.
Touche. Yes. And so I never really realized that processing of it into that chemical from ethanol is what makes you drunk. Your body is having a reaction to processing poison.
Yep. And combined with the triggering of the dopamine receptors, these are the feel goods, and now we're short circuiting that and unbalancing there. And then the GABA receptors also get stimulated. So the slowing down, this is kind of like, what is it? The benzos effects of alcohol, where they just, eat. I hope people here know, like for shooting games, like curling and darts, beer's illegal to have beforehand in competitive natures, because there is a small window within that first. This is like when you have one or two beers where you're like shooting pool, you're like, man, I'm on, or whatever, because it does slow you down, calm the nerves for processing. The problem is you're stealing happiness from the future, and your delayed reaction of processing the rest of the poison is just bound to catch up with you in a moment.
Yeah.
And just wait, it'll get there.
Yep.
And the fact that everybody gets tired when they stop drinking is because the body has worked so hard to filter your blood, to filter all of the toxins out of your blood. That's why you're exhausted once you stop drinking. Like if you have a couple beers and then you go flip over to water and you get a little tired, well, that's because your body has worked so hard to filter all of the blood that's in your system.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged sword. Like you were saying, John, the liver begins to process that stuff and says, oh shit, I need to process this. Shut it all down of what we do on a normal basis. So it doesn't process any cholesterol and any of the other items that it does. So that's why you see those elevated triglycerides and sugar in your bloodstream. So you're just like dumping all this garbage into your system. And that's, like afterwards, like a big thing for me getting sober. Again, I'm not a medical professional, but the B complexes for me when I was getting sober were so beneficial, because like I didn't realize like this whole cycle process of, drinking, hangover, getting drunk again, like it basically is, it's an energy vampire, because you're short circuiting your body, and in order for it to recover, it robs Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Plus you're depleting your system of all of the nutrients that you could absorb through what you're intaking as far as food and drink and all that, because it's using it to process the alcohol, so it's not absorbing any of the nutrients.
And likewise, it's also a diuretic. So it opens up the vascular blood flow in the kidneys. So whatever would normally get processed, with so much electrolytes just get dumped out and into the urine. That's why you could drink, you could be fully hydrated, and then you have like a couple shots or whatever, imbibing a couple ounces of liquid, and then having to pee, like you're like, oh my gosh, will
Like
this
a
ever
racehorse.
end? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's how it works. It's just
Yeah.
dumping out all, like, it's literally the body saying, I need to deal with this poison, so I'm gonna put like all the normal processing on the side. And when we say everything, like anything like beyond skeletal mass and a couple items, it affects everything.
Yeah.
Like muscle tissue, all the major organs.
Your neural process.
Yep.
So the digestion function too is what's crazy. So what we were saying, babe, about the minerals and vitamins and everything too, that's because the heavy drinkers inherently, the body stops to process and absorb a lot of that stuff at its supposed peak, not peak, but potential that it needs to. The other thing that I read, Patrick, I should have wrote down the actual percentage, but I did not realize that. So, all three of us, we were big beer drinkers. For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
a big beer is something that just, it's super
Above 5 ABV.
Yeah, or super sugary, flavorful. All these huge ales and IPAs that we used to brew and make. I want to say it's like anything above 7.5% alcohol. There's a magic number to where your body stops processing all of the things that you're talking about, the fats, the food. So it really gets into the empty calorie state in a sense that, we would just drink those big IPAs while we're out at one of our favorite restaurants up the road. I will not name them because they're not a bad restaurant. It's just serve a lot of big beer. Patrick's like, which one is it?
Yeah, right.
It's up in that shopping center by
yeah.
Harbor Freight. But so then we eat a fatty sandwich, and then we have another 3 or 4 or 5 of those big IPAs, and then we drive home. Yes, another, byproduct of
Impaired judgment.
But then by the time you get home and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, you're just like, fuck, man.
Yep.
Because your
Yeah.
your body is not processing that big old hunk of fat of the sandwich and everything that you made, and it's busy trying to keep that poison factory going. But then we would just continue. We'd switch to lighter beers for a couple hours.
For a couple hours.
Yeah.
And continue to get drunk so that way we're not dealing with the pain.
Odie has a good question. He goes, I never drank any alcohol. Is it healthy to consume some in a certain amount and period of time? This is a great question.
It is.
Because there's a lot of myths behind it. The answer is it's not healthy at all, in my opinion.
No.
But there is a threshold that you can consume and the body can be able to process it and recover, and either in a timely manner or with negligible effects.
About a beer an hour.
Yeah.
The
5% ABV.
For maybe the first couple, but afterwards it like you begin to overload the system and it can't process that much, and that's where a lot of damage comes into play. So while you may be safe with staying within a drink or two a day, there are other long-term effects that would come into play.
Yeah, your brain being one of them.
Your brain being one of them. So this is why we've evolved to process it as a poison. Yes, we can take it in the small doses and not die, but that doesn't mean that we tempt fate in continuing to to press that threshold.
Yeah.
So I think I was watching Dr. Daniel Amen, and he mentioned that it was either the World Health Organization or the CDC, I can't remember, one of the big major health organizations finally came out and said no consumption of alcohol is healthy.
That was who?
Yeah, the World Health Organization.
No consumption of alcohol is healthy.
Yep.
He was also asked, if you take 2 people and they do the same amount of exercise, they eat the same amount of foods, they take the same amount of supplements, and you have one person who doesn't drink at all and one person who drinks maybe 2 to 3 drinks throughout the week, and that's it. In 5 years, is there going to be a difference? And he said, absolutely.
Yep, that's a good point too. Why we're saying 1 or 2 drinks the body can process, but you're robbing yourself. Like if you're a weightlifter or somebody who enjoys exercising and you're looking to make gains, right? Even if you do
Sun's out, guns out.
right? So you get your exercise in and you have that 1 or 2 drink at the evening, you eat clean all day and get your exercise in. The recovery for your muscles is not going to be the same as if you were not drinking.
No,
So
'cause
while you
it decreases blood flow also.
yes, while you may be able to process that and minimize the damage that you're doing, like with the 1 or 2 drinks, you're missing out on the good stuff that your body's going to be doing just because it's in that fight or flight response, and it's just trying to survive at that point.
Yeah.
So if you just keep it suspended in that state all the time, you're going to miss out on the ability to grow
Yeah.
Yep.
and heal.
Also, that brought up another point. It decreases blood flow. So all you gentlemen out there who are having issues with blood flow, if you're having blood flow in one area, you're having blood flow in all areas.
Whiskey dick. So I want to further talk about the recommendations. I like Odie's question. And then his next statement is interesting because there are 0 positive effects. And you're right. It's a little bit polarized, Patrick, depending on where you live. But okay, real quick. That's not going to be real quick. Just bear with me. The World Health Organization has officially come out and said the recommended, the recommended allowance for alcohol. Remember, it's changed throughout the years too. Remember, doctors used to say, if feeling bad, smoke a Camel cigarette.
Right.
You'll be okay. But then doctors used to say, a couple 2-finger highballs at night is no big deal. And then that translated into a couple glasses of wine a night is not a big deal. And then that translated into, 4 drinks a week, or the moderate. Sorry, the numbers are starting to escape me again. I should have wrote all this shit down. But in the past, it used to be 2 drinks a day is good moderation. Then it switched to no. We mean 2 drinks a week. And that's depending on whiskey or wine or beer. And then doctors have just said there's absolutely 0 positive gains that your body and brain can get from this. It's fucking killing you when you drink it. So,
It's a carcinogen.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
mileage may vary. Everything that you just said, you can't give a recommendation on that because it's based on genetics. It's based on weight. It's based on, your body mass. It's based on your age. It's based on so many items to ability to process that poison. And I'm in agreement with you. So Odie's got another question. He said, what about alcohol for cleaning wounds? So alcohol is an antiseptic, ethanol is, and that's why you see ethanols. They actually put another poison in there that you can't imbibe this stuff straight off the shelves. It's the same ethanol,
but alcoholics do.
But alcoholics do, yes.
That and mouthwash.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a good antiseptic, but that's used in a topical application. So, I guess if you're in a pinch, using something of high proof, you don't want to go anything lower than, I can't remember the rule. It's like 120 or 130.
Yeah.
But this is like last minute scenario and you have nothing else.
And you're a severe alcoholic.
Yep. And then drinking just doesn't have any positive effects. There was using, it is also, it can be used as a numbing agent, but it created more complications, in other medical practices a long time ago when you didn't have anything. It was a good local anesthetic, but it did it globally and it increases blood flow. So it can increase complications if you're doing any incision work. Basically they stopped using it. Even though it was readily available, they stopped using it because it caused more problems than it helped.
Yeah.
In a pinch, maybe, but that's, you'd have to be a medical professional to make that decision if it's better. If you're out in the middle of the field.
We're not recommending it.
Right. If you're out in the middle of the field trying to make medical decisions like that, if you're, I don't know, amputating somebody's appendage or what, getting to the point, you have to be in a very dire situation to be making the decision on if I use alcohol or not,
Yeah.
For a benefit.
Yep. Okay, and then sorry we got startled. We had a new person join the chat, which every time we see that once in a while we're like, oh, geez. Like someone just walked in, like, who's this? Hello, Randy McFly. So, okay, let's talk about Judy and I would do this all the time. The hair of the dog.
Oh my gosh.
On the weekends, we'd wake up wild hangovers, and we would first of all, I'd be gently crying in my pillow as I've told the story, whimpering, telling myself I gotta fucking stop doing this. But then I would find myself in the shower drinking a shower beer or a Bloody Mary.
Go to our favorite restaurant and have a michelada.
Yep. And so what, a lot of people say, well, that helps with the hangover. No, it doesn't. It's with all those things we talked about, your body's trying to process that. As soon as you put alcohol back on top of that while you've been going through your rest period, your body stops processing that shit again. That's why I used to have a hell of a time, especially towards the latter years, as I was getting older with, when I would do a lot of the good 4 or 5 day holiday binges. Because man, by day 4 of a binge, I'm just like fucking exhausted, but still then, I would just get drunk and everything would be okay for that time.
It's because it just dumbs everything down.
Yeah. And I like to be transparent. So a lot of the physical effects that I used to have, especially towards the latter period, were I had a leaky butt.
Yeah, diarrhea, nausea, like all
It's
that.
like I could never keep my ass clean.
Good thing we have a bidet.
Yeah.
It is completely underrated, and I wish it gets talked about a little bit more. But for those getting sober, if you're in the AA groups or whatever group, shared experience around solid poops is very real. I'm a 12-year-old kid at heart, so getting to talk about this in a scientific method is fun.
Yep.
But it's the little things when you don't realize it's just causing that much of a havoc on your digestive health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you do go down the path of sobriety, it is one of the first things I did notice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I want to pause and talk about, this is why I wanted to do this. When I got sober, I know I'm not alone. Millions of people do this. You start to look about the benefits of sobriety. And it's helpful when I would see things like this. I don't like to have it dumbed down. I want to hear the real shit that people go through. To your point, what was really surprising, I was very vocal with Judy about it, was like 2 weeks after I quit drinking, I had a really nice poops. And very regular too. Wake up, it started, I'm like, man, so this is what it's like to shit normally. Instead of,
You take that away for decades, it's weird what people get acclimated to.
Yeah, it used to be, having, and it goes hand in hand, having the high fat, high carb foods that we used to eat. And then coupled with those sugary beers, it was just like
then late at night, and your body's
All
not
the
processing
snacking late at
it.
night.
Yeah, it's a lot of, you're literally putting your body in a fight or flight to induce all the stress to get like, it's like the equivalent of like if you can make yourself feel good for 5 seconds by like, puncturing yourself on the arm or like doing something like that, and you're like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you're stressed out even more because your body doesn't process the stress.
it is
So
literally
it comes back.
robbing happiness from the future.
Yeah.
So for that quick hit, you get the dopamine and the GABA stuff, and you come up here and you're, we talk about the body needing to be in a homeostasis or trying to reach it. So you stay up here and immediately you start to come down because the body's like, oh shit, I have some poison in me. And then for me, or for most alcoholics, you're just trying to chase that first hit, that first feeling, that first euphoria.
Yes.
And delay the coming down, because ultimately you don't come back down to normal.
No, you go a basement.
Yeah, you have the opposite and balancing effect of like trying to hotwire your good feelings. What inevitably comes is that anxiety and the body hurting afterwards. Like, we can talk about the physiological effects of hangover. We all know it, the dehydration, the headache, vomiting, diarrhea, whatever, the body being exhausted, muscle cramps, whatever. But ultimately, the hard stuff to try and describe is like when your body's in that state and doesn't have the resources, it's going to freak the fuck out, and you become more anxious. You are more emotionally unstable, right? I remember some mornings with the hangovers, like, just struggling, like, and just feeling this like big wave of emotions just like push me around, like, yes, there was some mornings where, I wanted to cry into the pillow, but I mean, like, I felt like a a leaf in the wind, just getting like slapped around emotionally, right? Like the littlest things would set me off. I was like, you know, I felt like a vampire being exposed to sun. Like all I wanted to do was retreat inward because these emotions were so powerful, right? And that's what kind of helped force a feedback loop, right? This is the manifestation of what's happening. Only like you build it up in your head of just being anxious and all these other items. This is what the physiological effects of alcohol has on your body in the hangover state. They manifest in certain ways the way you perceive them in your mind, and anxiety is a big piece of it.
Oh, for sure.
And
I'd like to touch on the neurological portion of this, because for me it was very prevalent when I quit drinking how fast some of my neuroprocesses would basically, it felt like they were just reconnecting. I was able to function at a higher level without having to sit and try and think, okay, what was the answer to that? Or what am I going to do, you know, in 2 minutes? Or, you know, I was able to function at a higher level than when I was drinking all the time, because that was just a shit show.
when I was drunk or the hangover and tried to think, it would literally give me another headache trying to think.
Trying to process.
Like, oh my God, thinking's too hard.
Yeah. And it you have a healthy brain that of somebody who's not, you know, doesn't drink a lot, and then you have a drinker's brain, and it is physically, literally smaller because the alcohol has shrunken the brain itself.
Yep.
So the neurological aspect of this is tremendous damage that the alcohol is doing to people who are drinking it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that scares me is like, you know, it affects the prefrontal cortex. So this is our decision making and executive function. This is why, you know, what's Cheers' Norm's story about why you feel smarter when you drink. Do you remember that?
No.
He's like, he tells it of the survival of the fittest. So alcohol kills brain cells. So as you're drinking, it goes after the slowest ones first, and it leaves the smarter brain cells behind.
Okay.
So that's why you feel smarter when you drink.
Okay.
When in reality, it's just it's inhibiting your executive function.
Yeah, it's dropping down your frontal lobe.
Yep, and then your cerebellum, your hippocampus. You know, like you lose balance. You can't do physical tasks.
Inner ear is jacked.
Inner ear. It becomes like the fact that it hot wires so much on a regular basis. You know, we see long-term effects, but I don't know if I never really heard about it until like I was seeking sobriety. But wet brain, is a very common thing. You know, this is basically like one of the scariest things. You know, as you get older, you kind of worry about stuff like Alzheimer's or dementia, cardiac issues. You know, the body just isn't meant to live forever, and all these tangible items or definable medical issues. Wet brain is still one of those ones that you're just like, no, they drank so much that the brain just starts deteriorating, and they don't really have a lot of good explanations for it. It's just brain's just broke and it doesn't fire in the right ways, and it
attacks the you have the neurons and then the pathways between the neurons.
Yes.
And that's what it attacks.
Yep.
Is those pathways. So they can't fire like they usually do.
Nope.
But it happens quick. What Patrick was talking about, that wet brain, sorry, I pulled out my phone to look it up, is because WKS, it's Wernicke's encephalopathy. And that's what, so I watched what?
No, I'm just smiling. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah. So there's a YouTube video of a lady whose brother, they were in their 50s. He was doing okay, you know, he had a serious issue with alcohol, but one weekend he went on a 5-day bender. Next thing you know, he was passed out, and they couldn't get a hold of him for 5 days. They went into his house, and he was just sitting in the corner, completely disillusioned.
Gone.
And he never came back from it. It was really scary. They had to put him in the hospice, and this happens all the time. That's the whole wet brain syndrome that we're talking about. I knew a little bit about it, and I told Judy before that was when we got sober, you know, Judy and I had a lot of let's talk about what we used to feel when we weren't
Yeah.
scared to talk to each other about this stuff anymore. But Patrick, that was my big thing too, was I don't know. Here's the alcoholic rationalization. Like, I could figure out the cancer stuff maybe, but once you get dementia, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. I hate, some crass jokes like, I may not have Alzheimer's, but at least I don't have Alzheimer's, like,
Oh, geez.
yeah, just bad stuff like that. One thing I will be honest with of, dealing with drinking culture, people that drink, one thing that does kind of get under my skin or will set me off is the common statement of, I'm not here for a long time, just for a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And it's
geez,
like this
yeah.
idea that it doesn't matter what icky feelings I have or whatever. I'm just going to go out in a blaze of glory. Right. It's just going to end and that's it. The reality is, like, continuing to borrow happiness from the future with this habit, like, one thing that you would guarantee is a lot of pain and suffering, not just for yourself, but those around you, because it is, either violently quick with some accident or some other thing, or it's a long, painful, drawn out thing.
Yeah. Dying from alcoholism is not the best way to die.
I had an uncle that did that, and it was hard to see because by the time I got to see him in his last years, it looked like he had aged decades. He had the distended belly, and he wasn't drinking in his last months, but at that point, the damage was done.
Yeah.
Right? You see the body just deteriorate and give up. And it was hard because it was a lot of pain to see, like, because he was one of those guys, 30 years ago. I'm not here for a long time, just for a good time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's how my dad died. And here in America too, I still see it and feel it a little bit. The America, being a man, you got to have a drink too. You got to be able to handle your liquor.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we hear a lot is, oh, he can't handle his liquor, he's not a man.
Yeah. And it's a cultural thing too, but I don't know where I was going with that. To your point, Patrick, it just kind of resonated too, watching a family member go through it. We had a family member situation here once Judy and I got sober, and we had to address that whole situation too. It was quite uncomfortable because it wasn't for the fact that we had quit drinking and now we were gonna, go on a crusade to tell everyone else they had to quit drinking. I don't give a two shits if you drink or not. In fact, I it's all about me. I feel good sometimes watching the world burn and everyone just sinking around me. But when it comes to family members, that's a tough, crucial conversation to have. We did it better because we were sober. We even had these conversations though when we were drinking, but it's tough to see, especially if someone's drinking whiskey, rot gut stuff too. The conversation we had to have was like, we have our lives to live, and we don't want to. And we threw this out there, like, we don't want to be wiping your ass in bed, changing your diaper while you're going through dementia, because this is something that could be short-term avoidable. So for the folks that are out there and having family member situations like this, that's a tough one to navigate too.
Yeah, it is.
Or friends.
On a different note, I'd back to the physiological portion of how it affects the body. I want to dive into the liver. So shortly before we finally quit drinking, I was getting to the point to where I could actually feel my liver. And you shouldn't be able to feel your liver. I mean, that's not something that you should be going, oh God, yeah, that really hurts. That's not a good sign.
No.
So what alcohol does in the liver is it creates these, while your liver is trying to process the poison, it's creating all these little slashes and slices and your
tissue.
Scar tissue. Well, no, it creates scar tissue because the liver will heal itself and create a scar tissue. Well, once you have that scar tissue there, it doesn't process like a liver.
And
That
then
scar, that
cirrhosis
section
comes.
that section of
it's
scar
the
tissue
hardening
does
of
not
the liver.
process like the liver should. So you keep scarring your liver and you keep scarring your liver and you keep scarring your liver. Good thing about the liver is it will heal itself, but that scarred area does not heal.
Yeah, you guys want some end of the internet stuff for the day? Go look at some of the effects of alcohol on the body, like, severe cases of cirrhosis and other items, the actual hardening of the liver. Yeah, that's some red pavement stuff.
That's scary. When your own physical filtration, your own filter can no longer filter anything. I mean, we die if we don't have our liver.
Well, it's very resilient,
Period.
but it's only going to work for so long.
Yes.
So yeah, I used to dread that. I can do it comfortably now. When I'd go get my annual physical, and
When
my
they had to
doctor,
press in?
Well, he'd press super hard right here to get all on your liver and be like, oh Jesus Christ.
You're pushing a rock around.
Oh my God. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I had fun revisiting this topic because it's very humbling. Like, just there's always something new to learn. Because I'm not a doctor and I can't remember all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it just the perspective of it, alcohol literally hijacking and hot wiring your body. Just for we talked about the GABA and dopamine, but like everything else, like it touches everywhere in your body in a bad way.
and here's the wild, sadistic, cruel catch-22 about alcohol. While it's ravaging you to that extent, it's almost impossible to stop cold turkey without dying.
Yep.
So
If you're a hardcore alcoholic,
yeah, you will. Remember, we've talked about this before, and just a reminder: if you're to the point to where you get real bad shakes when you quit drinking, you're gonna have to find a taper off solution, and you'll probably need to get some kind of. I'm not a doctor. Seek medical advice, but a lot of detox facilities and doctors will give you benzodiazepines to start to come off of alcohol, because quitting alcohol abruptly can kill you if you're a heavy drinker.
DTs are no joke.
yeah.
And we have a family member on here that went through that. He'd have wild seizures, just full blown seizures on the ground. And I was starting to get those too. I've talked about my micro seizures. For some reason, it happens in the shower. I think you start to relax or something. It's like, oh, gee, fuck. Your brain's revolting.
So some of the things that happens when you quit drinking, can we touch on that one?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the benefits that happen. Well,
Boners.
there's you get boners. You get good poops.
Boners,
You can think
poop.
better. Your body functions so much better, and it goes in increments. 72 hours after drinking, 2 weeks after drinking, 2 months after drinking, 3 months after 7 months after drinking. 7 months after drinking, your brain is doing fantastic. It's almost back to what it was prior to the damage that you inflicted.
Yeah, John talked about, looking at these timelines when you're getting sober, and, on the stop drinking subreddit, I'm still surprised at people like, I've been, I'm 2 weeks off, I should be like expecting better. The best advice I ever got from an old timer was, your mileage may vary on this, but it helped put the scale in perspective. First year of sobriety is your body physically healing.
Yeah.
The second year is emotionally healing. And then the third year is spiritually. You're going to have gains of certain aspects of those in other areas. And like I said, your mileage may vary per person. But what that's trying to describe is the length of time. Like, you have been ravaging your body for decades. You're going to have to give some grace for the repairs. You're saying, like, it is amazing how exponentially quick the body can jump back when you're not punishing it and putting it in its fight or flight. But you're
able to stay hydrated, for one.
Right.
And hydration is so crucial for your body to function. So, to stay hydrated, just that little element does so much for all the different systems in your body.
Yeah, we learned about that on the marathon. That's my favorite story. having to stop off to pee. You're like, I've never run a half marathon fully hydrated before.
Lost my running buddy because I was sober. Yeah.
But yeah, that and all around benefits. Yeah, the sleep, I mean, there's no bad thing that happens to you when you quit drinking. The only bad thing that happens to you is when you haven't processed all of your emotional shit.
Arrested Development.
It's not bad. That's why we started this channel. That was me.
Yeah.
Had a meltdown. Sorry, Patrick.
Everything that shows up at your door.
Yeah.
And good,
Very
bad,
surprisingly.
good, bad, or indifferent. It's there, and I'm thankful for that now. It's overwhelming when you're getting sober because, again, like I said, in that first year, you're just looking to like look at it this way, like you are struggling so hard to get back in the physical healing portion. You're like, wherever you're at, like I just want to stop crying into the pillow. I want to like have solid poops. I want to have whatever. Or you're like,
I did think a complete sentence.
Yeah, I did sober October. I should feeling better. I did clean. Like your current test will show up when you're ready to work on it. Meaning like once you've started making progression in the physical realms and helping your body, the emotional work shows up, right? And also,
don't forget about me.
The body's always there to remind us too, whenever in those new stages. I remember when I was, this was a really humbling experience when I was in the angry part. And I had about 9 months under my belt. And that winter was very tough because I was very angry. Like I had like made excellent gains in sleeps and solid poops, but I was like, where's my weight loss? Why isn't everything fixed? Why isn't this all, where's my enlightenment? Where, why am I still me type of thing? And, I was just angry about a lot of stuff because alcohol was my coping mechanism to process a lot. And I had to learn to develop new ones. And when I wasn't developing new ones, guess what was happening? The stress was actually hurting me to the point where I had, adult emergent shingles, stress-induced shingles.
Oh, you
up
did?
here. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I still have scarring across my ribs.
Man.
Showed up. And it was a humble reminder that your body is here to remind you. It doesn't say like, hey, Pat, you're really stressed out. I need you to take a chill pill. It's like, bro, if you don't pay attention to me, I'm going to
break out.
You know what? I'm going to go, I just see this old technician dusting off this old cabinet being like, oh yeah, chicken pox. He fucking hates this shit. Bring out the old stuff. And, sure enough, the shingle shows up and like, it was all stress induced. And, it's a comfortable reminder of saying like the work will be there and whatever's in front of you is you will continue to work on it until you pass that test. And the next one will appear when you're ready.
Yep.
I always kind of chuckle. I mean, not that at this person, whoever they are, but the one comment that John got that I've been sober for 2 years and I still feel like shit. I was like, well, then it's not the booze.
Yeah.
It
was a
by
YouTube
this time,
comment.
it is not the booze. It is all you.
I always use a joke with my wife. I'm like, if what is it? If every room you step in the house smells like dog shit, you better check under your shoe first, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right? You don't go around saying like, why is there dog shit in this room? Or like, trying to blame other people for it.
Better check your own shoes.
And what was yours that you shared? If everywhere you go, you run into assholes, then maybe you're the asshole.
Yeah. If everywhere you go, everybody calls you or says that, you think that everybody's an asshole. Eventually it's going to come around to you.
Yeah. At some point, maybe it's a you problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thank you both for having this conversation. Oddly enough, I enjoy it. We got to sometimes take a minute to really appreciate where we're at. And this is part of me giving myself grace because, we're all three of us, we can get pretty hard on ourselves. Patrick,
well, that's why we drank, is to shut up the inner critic.
You nailed it, though. I like that. I'm sober. Why am I still me? Well,
Now it's time.
Everywhere
to
you go, there you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still there. And that's the comment that someone left on YouTube. They're like, I've been sober. It was 7 years. I'm more miserable than ever. Well, that's
Has nothing to do with
have
booze.
work. You have work to do. You got to do the work. Man, I've been an open book about this. I met with somebody yesterday, and I had a really good discussion about sobriety and mental health. And man, Patrick, I don't know if this is I told Judy about it already. The sociology behind this revealing factor about ourselves is pretty mystical. Let me unravel that. I run into multiple people, and they ask, like, John, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm an alcoholic.
I'm sober.
They're
How
like,
much time you
"Fuck,
got?
Too much, man.
Oh, we're in the elevator. Stop elevator. Okay, here we go.
Oh, I
Crack the
forgot.
knuckles. All right.
I forgot my keys.
Do you really want to know, or you just want to talk about the weather?
No, it comes up organically in conversation. It's like, yeah, I realized I had a drinking problem, and I've been dealing with this. And it's crazy how many people are like, oh, me too. And then you immediately have a bond. You and I did that when we met in the driveway. And I told you, I'm like, I don't go fishing, but I'm sober.
Did we become best friends? Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask another guy out on a date. Is that how you do it?
Yeah, but it's very interesting to tell that to people, and that is I'm an alcoholic and I'm really working on my mental health issues. And then so many people that I've had this conversation with, they go, "Oh man, I really need to work on that too." Isn't that interesting?
Yes. I've come across a few people like that.
Yeah.
I'm not as open as you are with my. I don't come out and go, yeah, I'm sober, and that's just not something that I do. I do it every once in a while, but I either get that or, oh, good for you.
Yeah. Well, it's my journey. It's part of me giving myself grace and reminding myself that I've really worked hard, and I continue to work hard on my self-esteem. And with that self-esteem package comes one of the best solutions that I found, and that is I really work hard on not giving a fuck what people think about me.
I think you're hitting right at the point, to that person that was like, I've been 7 years sober and I'm still angry or
Miserable.
miserable. It stems early in our desire to be elsewhere. We're seeking validation outside, I had a promotion. I need a drink. I can't deal with these crazy people in my family. I just need a drink. I had a long day. I need a drink to unwind. That is seeking mechanisms to cope outside of our own ability, right? And we would say in our mind, we build this up. I want to be happy. I need a drink. And that becomes equivalent, right? In order to get to happy,
I have to have a drink.
I have to have a drink. For the people that become dry drunks, you take the drink out of it, but you say, I need sobriety to be happy, right?
Right.
I need X to be happy. And we're just continuing down this path, and we're expecting sobriety to be this magic creature that grants us everything. Again, I'll use the analogy of sobriety didn't open up the gates of heaven for me. It opened up the gates of hell so I could get out. Like you were saying, I'm so proud of you too, because along this journey, I don't have to say I need sobriety to be happy. It's like I get to be happy and I get to work on that directly, right? I get to work on all the items that can either help get me there and not help me get there, or process everything in between. But again, we're just losing the illusion that we're predicating happiness based on something else.
I also like the fact that one of the comments from another one from Alan Carr, he said that you get to the point to where your thought process is not, oh man, I don't get to drink. It's, oh man, I don't have to drink.
Judy and I
That helped a lot.
We started embracing that in the beginning a lot, because one of the biggest things that we got back that we realized was time.
And money.
Yeah. But the time was a huge factor for me. And we quit August 30th. over 2 years ago, but it was right around, that's when all the holidays start. You know, we'd always have a huge celebration around my birthday in September, which was Labor Day, and then our anniversary. We'd always use that as a like, we are getting fucked up.
I
would take a week off from work.
Yeah.
You know, that's how serious we were about the drinking around holidays too. Like, oh, we're gonna get hammered. Let's figure out how to moderate it so we don't, you know, pass out all
the
every day.
calculus.
The calculus. Like, I don't know.
And even still, that calculus is so greedy because you said it yourself. I don't want to drink so much the first night that I miss out drinking the rest of the days, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be the most efficient at my drinking.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. We would do that all the time. Like, oh my God, I'd remember, like, I woke up at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon a lot. I'd be like, fuck, I wasted a lot of drinking time now. Like, how do I feel? I'm ready to get back into it. And then it would just steamroll.
Yep.
Sobriety is a really good place for me to be spiritually. It feels really nice finally too. Patrick, I really like what you said about the 1 year, 2 year.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
That's a good analysis. That's
Again, people's mileage depending on your age and how long you've been doing this, but I think that's a good general expectation to tell people, and that is, if you're just call it a midterm alcoholic and you get sober, remember that first year is just you kind of cleaning up your body, and then for me, the second year was definitely fucking
emotional.
I mean, look at the growth patterns around it. You know, the toolkits that we give for the people in immediate sobriety. You know, this is like after you've broken an arm or a leg or something, right? All right, if you got broken leg, then you're laid up, you're not running, you're not walking, you're taking care of it. If you're new to sobriety, your best toolkits are learning to get the fuck out of there, not being around the booze, right? Mm-hmm. You know, eliminating any attempts or pathways towards that. Like, you are just looking at physically healing your body from that. And then, you know, it shows up, the emotional work and that next stage, you know.
And you can't get away from that. That's one thing that you will never be able to get away from. You can walk out of the room when there's alcohol in the room. You can walk away from your friends when they're saying, "Hey, you need to drink. Come on." But you can never walk away from the emotional shit that's in your life. There's just no way. You're gonna have to face it.
That's what the scary part is, because there's many people that have attempted sobriety and thinking that not drinking will just be the path. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, you know, you can white knuckle it. You know, that's what I call white knuckling, just staying away from it and just not imbibing. But like you said, that's the scary part. At some point,
you're gonna have
your
to face
shit is your shit, and there's no escaping it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to scare people. It's both awesome and terrifying.
Yes.
It's awesome that it's going to be there when you are ready. Terrifying that it feels like the albatross that you can never relieve yourself from. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, that's the journey. That's what we get to learn to deal with. And I've often said, you know, like, I've tried to say unselfishly here, like, the best advocate for you is you. And learning the fact that you get to deal with your shit is empowering, because that is yours and your space to grow. Like, that's the inward journey that I always talk about. Like, that learning how to excel and accept yourself there will yield the best rewards. Period.
Okay. I think Odie left us, but I love his comment. You're welcome, Odie. Thank you very much for being here with us.
He's got his stream.
I know. Selfish bastard.
Hit him up over at ODN7 on Twitch.
Yep, ODN7 on Twitch. Patrick, let's wrap it up real quick with let's tell the folks. Okay, we spent an hour on talking about all the horrible shit. Oh shit, Odie's still here. He heard me. Sorry.
Okay, bye.
Yeah. about all the horrible shit that alcohol does to your body. If someone wants to, let's go round robin between the three of us. If someone wants to quit, what advice would you give, Patrick? You're next, babe. Heads up.
Okay.
I've always said this, but if you want to quit and you're asking yourself that, like, be kind to yourself. You know, I'm proud of you for raising that awareness, and it's not going to come easy. But for me, a big point was recognizing alcohol as the poison, pulling back the veil of the sweet whispers that it would always put in my ear of like, you know, you need this is going to be better. Coming with a scientific look. I'm going to be very honest here. In the early days for me, the books, This Naked Mind by Annie Grace, Alcohol Explained by William Porter, and Alcohol Lied to Me by Craig Beck were my kind of triumvirate of like, you know, like, fine, let's talk. Annie Grace's is very good because she's like, you can try this, and if you want to go back to it, by all means. Just try and see what it actually is. And that helped me at my core understand it as a poison and allowed me to move forward on my journey. But always on your journey, have grace for yourself, because if you have that awareness right now, just be kind, you know, be that scientist further exploring those techniques and hypotheses, gather more information. You know, if you're questioning why do you feel a certain way, go searching. Right? Just don't sit there by yourself and just stew about it.
Excellent advice, Patrick. Judy?
I would say reach out. Reach out to anybody. Reach out to AA or Al-Anon, or have that seeking mind. Like you were talking about, like reading books and trying to kind of fill yourself with knowledge on a different path. But also, you're not alone. You're not the only person going through this. There's other people out there. There's other stories out there. There's other people who are going through the same shit, probably worse than what you're going through. And they're there to share. They're there to help. They're there to be a shoulder to cry on. There's somebody out there that is there for you to help, or there to help you to go through this. So, I mean, reach out. Don't do this alone, because it's a lot harder to do alone. You really want to do this with someone else.
Yeah. Thank you. Good advice, Judy. Welcome, Fem Army Vet 73. So I was going to go with almost around the same thing that you said, and that was I often reflect, Patrick, about how petrified I was. I used to go through the scenarios in my head about how I would tell Judy, and that is, this is my recommendation. If you have a family member and you're struggling with alcohol abuse or addiction, sit someone down in your family that you trust and or love, would be awesome, and say, I need help. I have a problem. That to me is, I think, a huge gateway that can open up, and it will just get all of that out and help someone else carry that burden. I'm getting emotional and misty-eyed thinking about that, because you and I had talked about that we wanted to do that to each other for years, and we were always afraid.
Fear, yeah.
How fucking weird is that? You're the love of my life, you're my best friend, and I couldn't tell you that I wanted to stop killing myself.
Fear's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we talked about today on that back end, that anxiety kicks in, and that, I mean, it heightens the paranoia and stuff that forces us inward. So give yourself some space. If you're questioning now, do everything in your power to educate yourself against this bully, right? Give yourself some breathing space to get some strategy, talk to somebody, find out what it's doing to you more, something.
Odie, we're having serious conversations. Odie said, I was hoping Judy will give us the same advice as last time. Subscribe and then leave. She upgraded.
Well, I do want you to subscribe.
Yeah.
Do we need to do a clickbait? cure your alcoholism in this one easy step.
Yeah.
Tune in next time.
Yeah.
We can cure your alcoholism.
Do this
Tune in
one
next
thing.
time.
All right, but those are good points. So I think we all, grace, man, Patrick, I
Give
love
yourself
hearing that,
grace.
but
That's
shit,
fantastic.
it is so difficult for me in the beginning, especially. So work on that. Reading books, that was a good one. Me and Judy's, I think, is The Easy Way to Quit Drinking by Alan Carr. Same thing. He's like, you go ahead and grab your favorite bourbon and read this book while you're drinking if you want. By the time you get done, if you still don't
drink,
want, then
then
that's
go
kind of
ahead.
on you. But here's kind of the tools for it.
But there's a lot of information out there. There's tons of information out there.
Yeah, it's such a double-edged sword anymore with the internet fucking rabbit hole, though.
Well,
you have to be pretty selective.
That's where talking to people,
Yeah.
like you said, comes in handy. It's like a trifecta. You got your books, you've got the information that's out there, and you've got human-to-human contact and conversation.
Yeah, but carrying it around silently is not going to help. It'll just keep you. It'll keep you there in the dark. So Al-Anon, these are all free options. Al-Anon, Alcoholics Anonymous. I want to say these are international, global. They are, right? I'm not making that up. AA is a global community.
Therapies,
Yep.
Yes.
psychologists, psychiatrists.
So
the
you
medical
may be going through
communities.
shit that you've buried so much with alcohol that you actually need to seek professional help.
Yeah.
To process and work through and build your toolbox on how to deal with all of these emotional.
I'm not done with my advice. I'm still on my advice.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that is just get out and talk. AA is a good one where you can go, and we've seen I know we got kind of mixed emotions sometimes. AA might not be for everybody, but you can go there and just sit in the corner and not do anything. You can just listen to other people talk, and I think that's a good first step. And when it comes, they won't be like, stand up and tell us that you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
There's no public shaming. So anyway, okay, let's wrap it up. I have a proclamation, and I need to tell Odie this, and I hope he hears me loud and clear. Patrick, are you ready? This is going to be a very stern comment that I'm going to make, but I need you and Odie to understand what I'm about to say. The very best video game in the history of all video games ever made is Valheim.
Shots fired.
Yep. God, it is spectacular. The graphics are the worst
Across
ever.
the bow.
But man, it is amazing.
Anyway, we thank
Fem
you
Army
everybody
says
for.
it's dangerous to be in the dark. You have to know yourself, your thoughts, and without someone else bringing you into the light, those thoughts manifest, and it's not a good place to be. Yes, Valheim. Oh, and Odie just unsubscribed.
And reported.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you everybody for joining us.
Yeah,
We
thank you,
really
everybody.
appreciate everybody tuning in and listening on the podcast and just being a part of this
community.
channel,
Man,
this
we
community.
got
We
Patrick.
really
Have you
appreciate
seen
it.
539 subscribers?
Choo choo.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. It's your topic for next week.
Oh.
So, do you have anything cocked and loaded, or just letting you know, heads up? You got to pick the topic.
No, I mean, do we have any topics that our viewers want to help with?
Yeah.
Anything specific?
That's a
we've
good
asked
one.
before. So, Odie, Fem Army, who else? Michelle, you guys leave a comment and tell us what you would like us to talk about in the coming future. You don't have to do just one. Put a list. I'd like to hear some more ideas. We have plenty of ideas, but I'd like to hear from the
There's
community.
one that I don't know. I may need to bend Fem Army Vet's ear. She is also a Twitch streamer, and I watched her stream, and she's part of a community.
Oh, I didn't know you knew this person.
Yeah, she does. She does a lot of streaming, but they have a timer on their stream to remind people to take their meds.
Oh,
And that's a very interesting aspect to approach, the support and community, creating a safe space for people, like, to help overcome the stigma. We talk about this many times in the mental health community, just the little items they can do to help overcome that stigma. And that was an interesting one that I'd never seen or didn't think of until I was watching her stream. So I don't know, maybe something along those lines of like, other mental health stigmas that like either we can begin to approach or, maybe items that we can do to cultivate on this channel as well, to help, if there's certain habits or behaviors that we can get to there.
Okay. I love talking about it. I love talking about this fucking clown show that's going on in here, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. All right. We'll formulate it and we'll get the rudiments of the topic ready for next weekend.
Can I before we go, I just wanted on meds. Can we also include supplements?
Yes.
That help people who are going through sobriety or going through mental health issues, that these supplements can really help.
Well, we can talk about our own experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, supplements is going to be interesting because it's going to be much like medication. Like they're not FDA approved, but at the same time,
Correct.
They are like modalities that I would encourage people to try and go out for them. And then also learning how to validate, like, supplements is helpful, yes, but am I going to go out and buy some copper coins for my shoes so they like pull the toxins out of my body? Sorry for anybody who has the
like,
magnets.
like just regular vitamins or nothing outrageous.
So we're just also trying to draw the line and grow toolkits for people to explore and validate those.
Although I do like the little bath for your feet where the little fishies come up and they nip on your clean your
that
feet.
one's
That one's pretty
you
cool.
have like some sensory thing there, but like I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. So
Okay.
You like how I play
Just,
off the stage?
yeah, right. Thanks, John. Verbal smoke bomb. Boo. Okay, bye guys.
okay, bye.
Yep. That's it. On that note, see you guys next weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.